Well, everybody, hello there. Today, I've gotten myself into some pretty spicy drama. If you guys have been on Twitter for the last 24 hours, you'll see that arguably I have gone trending. Technically, I haven't gone trending, but I have caused something, or my actions have caused something to go into trending on Twitter. Arguably, I would say that I am the originator of the discourse that is happening right now. So I'm giving myself full and entire credit for this, and I will not accept any other reality. I am entirely at fault, and I take full responsibility. All right. Lolly is trending on Twitter with 19.9k tweets, and it's because of me. Now, in order to tell you guys why this happened, I have to take you guys back in time. First, just a few years, or just a year or so, and then to a few days ago. I'm going to remind you all, by the way, there will be no Cyberpunk Edgerunner spoilers in this. At least very, very, very minimal. Like, any spoilers that I include, hardly spoilers. Like, nothing actually, like, it's just a scene that I will show for the sake of an argument. Anyway, there will not be any spoilers. So don't worry about that. With that said, though, we got to go back in time about a year ago, when I had my first debate with somebody who wanted to argue with me on the topic of whether or not lolicon was child porn. Now, the context of this conversation, for those of you guys who don't know what lolicon is, well, the most known example of a lolly, or lolicon, is like lolly consumption, I believe, like consuming lolly content, I believe, or lolly content is what it means. I don't remember exactly what it means. Lolicon. Which does it mean? Is it lolly content or lolly consumption? What does lolicon stand for? I don't know. Regardless, complex? Wait, but con. Is it com? Well, I don't know. Okay, regardless though, like this character right here. Kana from this anime. This character is like explicitly underage. This is the character where the 3,000-year-old dragon lolly comes from, for those that don't know. This character is underage canonically. Like, apparently she's 11 or something in the Dragon Years thing, and she literally fucking looks like a child. This character is typically seen as sort of the, the mascot of lolly characters. Now, a character who is young, or looking young, or is, just a child existing in anime obviously isn't a problem. I've never had a problem with that. That's not what that original debate was about. The particular discussion around that debate was whether or not sexual attraction to characters who look like this is indicative of some sus behavior, and if people are likely using material like this as a stand-in for child porn because it's the closest they can realistically get, or more likely they're advocating for it publicly because it's the closest they can realistically get away with publicly advocating for. And that's what the discussion was about. I won that debate. Pretty hardcore. And over time, I would end up getting into drama with the lolicons. I would get a bunch of them banned from Twitter because they all get reported for posting child porn, and then Twitter would ban them for posting child porn. Which, by the way, guys, make sure to take very good advantage of this. Twitter has finally added the option to quick report people for child porn posting on Twitter. You can actually report people for that directly, easily, just by clicking the report button on Twitter now. So very easy now. Take advantage of that feature. It was not a thing last time I was, dealing with these people. So every single one of you has a duty to report them, because each extra report means another pedophile off of Twitter. With that said, a year goes by or so, and I get into a few other arguments with the lolicons. I blow them out on Twitter and all that. It's all well and good, right? We're having a great time. It's Pog, and I actually haven't talked about this. I really covered it in depth, like the lolicon topic and how weird it is, in a while, because it's just not something that I think about all that often. Until a few days ago, a friend of mine started hardcore shilling to me this new anime that came out on Netflix called Cyberpunk Cyberpunk Edgerunners. And it is a prequel to the Cyberpunk 2077 game. And, I was told it's fantastic, and my friends are like, all right, come on, watch this show with us. Watch this show with us. It's really, really great. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm down to watch it. Sure. I have really no interest in the Cyberpunk universe, so I'm just gonna go off the fact that, you know, you guys are really, really, you know, advocating for this, and I'll give the show a look. And so we're about to start the first episode, and my friends tell me, fair warning, by the way, there's this really stupid drama happening right now where this character named Rebecca is being called a lolly, but she's very explicitly not. We meet her for the first time in a bar, drinking, swearing, smoking, and she's got dick tattooed on her leg, and she's just very clearly a short stack, vertically challenged adult. And I was like, okay, well, fair enough. You know, I don't want to see some lolly shit in this anime, so I'm glad to hear that. And, you know, sure enough, I think it's like episode 2 or 3, we end up meeting the character, and we meet her in a fucking bar. She's got dick tattooed on her leg. She's just short, and like her voice isn't really like childish in any way. She doesn't really behave that childishly. It really just kind of came off as like a sort of like the obnoxious ditzy white girl wasted 20-something-year-old at the bar, right? That was the vibe that I got. Granted, though, yeah, she gives off Harley Quinn Jinx from what's it called? I watched the dub. Jinx from League of Legends vibe, right? Or Jinx from Arcane. I watched the dub because Cyberpunk Edgerunners takes place in like LA, so I watched the sub of Death Note. That's the only other anime I've ever watched, was Death Note. I actually liked Edgerunners better than Death Note. I watched that sub because it takes place in Japan for the most part. And I watched this one dubbed because it takes place in LA. I think you guys can accept that. We watched this series. You know, very fantastic. I will not say how it ends. I will say that, like, Rebecca, the character in question, who I am about to show us, show you a scene from, sort of how she behaves and what she's like, I guess, very briefly, as much as I can get away with copyright-wise, because I feel like just seeing a scene from the show is probably the best way to get the argument that I'm making across right away. This is the character who caused all of the hullabaloo, all right? Let's hope that YouTube doesn't get mad at me for showing this clip, okay? It shouldn't. Obviously, it's not going to get mad for any of the content in it. It's just copyright ID might get me, so let's hope not. Also, get ready for a banger song, okay? Okay, the best thing about this show is the fucking soundtrack, okay? All right, I'm going to play about 30 seconds here so you guys get the point of this character clearly not being child-coded.
Oh, David, my man, what's going on? Everything good?
Yeah.
What's up, June? You need something?
Yeah. Got this package here.
So, like, she answers the door with the gun. You can't really see it too well from this angle, but that's dick tattooed on her leg. She's got tons of cybernetic implants. And she starts screaming and swearing at her, like, yeah, it's just, this is very obviously like a short woman, you know? I've met women that are well above 18 years old with this body type. Now here's the thing. Here's where it gets spicy. Here's where it gets interesting. Now you see, you would think that the lolicons, the ones who are oftentimes trying to dissuade the idea that they are pedophiles, you would think that they would try to claim that this character is not a lolly, right? That you would think they'd try to claim as many characters as possible are not lollies due to the, very negative association of what that's typically, what that typically entails, right? But no. Instead, they are trying to claim this character is in fact a lolly. Which is interesting, isn't it? You see, at first I was a little bit confused. I didn't understand why they were doing this. So my very first reaction to Cyberpunk Edgerunners was to tweet this. My friends made me watch Cyberpunk Edgerunners, then it's the Keanu Reeves crying meme, and then in the background, if you guys can't tell, if you guys you guys can recognize the background if you pay attention enough, and you know. If you know, you know. Filling people who watch the anime with the insatiable urge to kill Atom Smasher is the best advertising CD Projekt Red could have asked for. Absolutely. And so, you know, I basically just like tweeted about how, oh yeah, this is fucking good. I liked it. But then I started seeing some stuff pop up in my recommended. When I finished Edge Runners, I started watching reviews of the show. And very quickly, after I started watching reviews of the show, these thumbnails started popping up in my recommended. So the first video is from 2 weeks ago, when like Cyberpunk had like been just a few days old, like the show had just been a few days old. Twitter users make a shocking discovery about Rebecca. Wait, she's a lolly? Now in this video, Rev Says Desu basically says that in an interview, one of the creators of Cyberpunk Edge Runners refers to the character of Rebecca as a lolly. Now, there are actually two responses that I have to this. One is a very simple one. The label of lolly is not really the concern. If you want to call a 6 foot tall, fucking big titty thick MILF character a lolly, then sure, that's fine. What actually matters to me is how the character looks and what it's trying to evoke, especially if it's being sexualized. That's what really counts. And in the case of Rebecca, well, she's just not presented in any childlike way, not visually, not behaviorally, not personality-wise. She, in fact, like, I need to word this carefully, okay? Let's just say that her extremely sexualized and slutty, like, personality, and she is extremely slutty and sexualized in the show. So if she actually was underage, it would be really fucking sus of Netflix to post. Like, it would be really weird if they did that. Like, a lot of the people that I've seen, like, identifying with this character have been sex workers that are adults. No, she literally says loud, hot, and sexy is her, like, method to try to get with David. Like, yeah, like, that's literally a line she has. She's actively trying to be as, like, flamboyant? Is that the term? Like, as what's the term for it? Like, in his face with that as much as possible. Personally, I think that David's mom was best girl, okay? Followed by Kiwi, all right? I'm back. I'm fucking sidetracking a little bit here, but I need to Kiwi Edge Runners. I need to. Okay, chat. I know many of you guys may not agree. Okay, I know many of you may not agree, but hear me out. All right, hear me out. Anyway, so. I wasn't exactly part of the massive group of people on Twitter that started simping for this character, but what ended up happening was, as soon as Cyberpunk Edge Runners came out, got announced, and started getting a lot of attention, like, sex workers in particular, who, like, really identified with the character, because she just kind of embodied this very, like, not judgmental, and yet still sexually expressive, personality, that in like the show doesn't judge her for being like sexually explicit. That's just kind of who she is, and she's just kind of being her own person. I think a lot of people appreciated that in the sex work community that do kind of have like that public persona a lot of the time, at least some people that I know. And then the other part of people that liked her were just the kinds of people who like the quirky, fun character in this type of media, right? Like your Jinx type character, like in Arcane or whatever. The final group of people, though, that decided to really jump on board with this character were, of course, the lolicons. Because what motive do you think these people would have to claim a character who very clearly isn't underage or a child is actually underage or a child? Especially after half of the internet has been simping for them for like a week. What do you think their motivations might be? Here's another video from the same creator here, Unfathomably Based, no lolly, no anime, and this is from when Studio Trigger refused to remove this character because early on there was apparently a few people on the team making the show that didn't like her character at first, but changed their minds about a third of the way through production, and she quickly became their favorite characters. So that's what I believe this is referring to. So there wasn't like a no lolly, no anime was not like a quote that was made. So interesting. But now we get to the fun part. Now we get to the final point of all of this. Why are they saying she's a lolly when she's clearly not? When she is canonically above age, looks above age, and most dudes who go outside and don't only jack off to 2D anime girls have met at least a dozen real life women who are well above 19, 18 years old or so, into their 20s or whatever, that have that body type. Why are they trying to claim this character is underage, despite none of the context suggesting that's the case? Well, it's because the internet's been simping for her for the last week. And they want to say, guess what, internet? This character's actually a child, and you're a pedophile for being attracted to her. And why would they want to do that, chat? Raise your hands in chat if you guys have any idea why they might want to make that claim. To normalize it. That's right. If you want to criticize a pedophile for normalizing their child porn philia publicly, and they can reply with, well, the whole internet was simping for this character, and you didn't make a big deal about it, or you even defended it, so you're a hypocrite, I guess. That is what they will try to do. And that is absolutely their plan. Much like any other conservative, who would have thought these lolicon pedophiles aren't very honest? I also think it's funny that many of the lolicon pedophiles I ended up pissing off with my tweets went into the replies of my posts and started calling the trans fans that I have in my replies groomers and pedophiles for being trans. Which was very evidently it was just very evident, where these people are coming from, you know? Rebecca is not child-coded in any capacity. Only pedos call her a lolly. Yeah, of course. With that said, though, there is a final point that I want to go at here. There's a final point that I want to acknowledge, and that is the definition of lolly. Because you see, we have a problem. Many people in the anime community, whether they're doing it out of just a genuine, lack of realization for how this could be harmful, or why it's a little weird, or out of blatant malice, will try to basically conflate a lot of things as being lolly. Let me actually quote tweet let me show you a particular tweet that I got last night that I quote tweeted. So this person claimed that these characters in descending order are all lollies. They claim that this person is considered a lolly, that this person is considered a lolly, this child, and this fucking toddler is also considered a lolly. So, we've got a girl that appears to have, I don't know, is this character considered underage? This character does not look underage by any means, but okay, it just looks like a fucking anime girl. What can I say? Looks about the same as any of the anime girls that were in, what was that one game I played? Honey Pop? Yeah. These characters are children. This is a toddler, and this is like a fucking 8-year-old. So, can you kind of understand where I'm coming from here? Where I think that maybe tossing a character like this in the same category as these fucking children, as far as being sexually attracted to them or finding them hot, I think that's a little... I think if you're like, ooh, big booba, fucking the stomach thing, you guys know the one when girls wear a dress that's tight and the stomach, you guys know. These are features that are very much common in sexually mature adult women that people tend to be attracted to. This is a child, and this is a fucking toddler. So, yeah. I've been arguing with people on Twitter for the last 24 hours trying to claim that I am calling... that me saying lolicons are pedophiles is irresponsible because lolicon includes this characters like this in their definition. Now, that is, in some cases, true. It is sometimes true that in the animation industry in Japan, the term loli is literally used to refer to simultaneously underaged characters that are girls, as well as adult characters that have characteristics that are typically associated with younger women. So like being more petite or shorter, like this character here, apparently would be included in that. Or Rebecca would be included in that. So what it seems like to me... Hey, Zan, I got the Rev response video to your tweet. Wait a second. How did Rev make a response video to my tweets? I didn't make any claims in my tweets. All right, we'll watch it. Send it to me. Apparently, we got some pedophile cope to watch. Anyway, my point is that it feels very strange that they want so fucking badly... Hey, what's up, guys? Oh my god, YouTube. It feels very strange to me that they want so badly to throw in attraction to a character that looks like this with attraction to characters that look like these, so that saying people who are attracted to characters look like this implicitly means that you're calling people who are attracted to characters like this pedophiles. They're trying to build a shield around themselves. Don't let them do it. I expect you guys to be smart enough to not get fooled by fucking pedophiles. Alright, so the Rev Dev says Desu guy made a video response to me. Damn, 6 hours ago with 39k views. These pedophile channels are big! Damn! This is a massive pedo channel. Alright, let's see it. What you got for me? Give me the cope. And, it appears the avatar that this individual's using for their VTubing has the appearance of, like, an anime 11-year-old. So let's hear this person talk about how they're definitely not a pedophile. Definitely, guys. Not a pedophile. Definitely. No, definitely not. No, definitely not. Nope.
Guys, Rev here. So this morning...
By the way, in case you're curious, this is the guy who... Just want to show you guys the thumbnails this guy made really fast. So this is this guy. The guy who's like the big lolicon simp, okay? Now, let's see what we're about to hear here. All right, I'm just going to turn the speed up a little bit because this is clearly a live segment, kind of like what I do. All right, give it to me.
This morning, I woke up to a whole circus because a streamer by the name of Xanderhall decided to
That's me.
attack me and my community over the fact that I rightfully called Rebecca from Cyberpunk a lolly. Now, it's probably an overplayed joke at this point, but there's a reason why his name rhymes with Neanderthal, because...
My favorite thing about that insult is that Neanderthals literally had larger brains than Homo sapiens. Like, I know they think they're saying something here, but doesn't science heavily suggest that Neanderthals had larger brains, larger brain cavities, and were likely more intelligent? Not only that, but they're heavily believed to be physically stockier and tougher than Homo sapien. What? They had a higher IQ? Yeah, I don't even know why. Why is this an insult? I guess it is an insult if you're stupid and you don't know anything about, like human history, I guess. Or the history of human species on this planet. Ad hominem pog? Yeah, we're starting... Listen, we've literally got a pedophile with a little child VTuber avatar who's going to insult me because I called them a pedophile, okay? That's what we're watching here. There's not going to be any arguments.
He clearly knows nothing about anime or my channel.
That is true. I've seen 2 animes.
Which is evidenced by the fact that everyone is clowning on his post. Now, I hear this...
So, isn't it interesting how simultaneously these pedophiles, as well as conservatives and the alt-right, think that who has the most following and who is the most popular is an argument? Who is everyone? Oh, my videos are getting massively, or my tweets are getting massively ratioed. Have you guys not seen it? The pedophiles are a massive community online right now. Or especially on Twitter. Twitter heavily enables the pedophilia. Like, every single one of my tweets about this has, like, a pretty decent amount of replies shitting on me. I've had to block a shit ton of these pedophiles. I've had to block a ton that have been sending me child porn in the fucking, like, DM requests. I've had to report them to Twitter. Thank God for that one-click report button. They've been sending me uncensored lolly porn. which, at least they get notified when they get banned. That's nice. Remember, guys, you get a little notification from Twitter when they get banned. Remember that. They added a one-click ban button. They added a one-click report button. And you get notified when they get banned. Yeah, it's very stupid to send, like, literal TOS content to somebody. I do the same thing when Nazis send me gore and shit. Like, Nazis love DMing me gore, and I just get their accounts banned every time. It's fun as shit. Anyway, these people think that, like, who got the most likes is actually an argument, but okay, let's see it.
This all the time. Rev, just ignore this. You're giving him attention. But honestly, if you're going to make free content out of slandering me and my community, I'm going to make free content making fun of you in front of tens of thousands of people. So here's the tweet in all its glory. Next stream, I'll once again be dunking on pedophiles. Only this time, they're trying to claim a character who is very clearly a short adult is a lolly. The only reason they do this is because the character is being sexualized massively online, and they want to normalize lolicon.
Damn! Wow! God damn, I'm smart! I forgot how well worded that tweet was. You know, I truly am an artist for what I just did with 240 max characters. God damn! So true! So goddamn true!
So before we break this all down, for further context, he was convinced into watching the Cyberpunk anime and is now having an existential crisis over the...
A what? An existential crisis? I just watched my second ever anime, and there's a culturally relevant thing that I can cover that's happening around it that I felt like discussing. I do like how this guy's actually resorted to, haha, this guy's triggered, this guy's having a mental breakdown because he disagrees with me. Listen, dude, you're the one who, if you went out in public wearing a shirt with, like, some fucking lollies on it, you'd probably get, at best, a lot of really weird looks, okay, dude? To be very, very clear, you are the one who is advocating for something that broader society is disgusted by and mostly violently repulsed by, okay? I don't even support violence towards people just because of their, like, just because they have a pedophilia, just because they're pedophiles. If just because they have that, like, attraction, I don't think they should be, like, killed for that. They should be given therapy and kept away from children and, like, people who they could abuse. But, like, this person probably thinks that, or this person wants their audience to think that I'm one of those people who just goes on about how, lolicons should be killed or whatever. That is not the case.
The fact a character he likes is a lolly, and then he cites my videos on the topic as the pedos he's gonna...
I'm gonna be honest, guys. You guys are probably gonna be a little triggered by this, but Rebecca wasn't my favorite character. My favorite scene of Rebecca's was this... Oh, I don't want to spoil it. My favorite... Okay, I'm going to be as vague as I can be so people who've watched the anime know what I'm talking about. There is a scene very close to the end of the show where Rebecca stops the thing that she had been incessantly doing, and there's just this very heartfelt, emotional moment that really made me like her character when she was like, the line she said was, "Okay, David." That was the line she said, and I liked that line a lot. That scene in particular was like, okay, Rebecca's pretty cool. But before that, my favorite character had to be... I gotta go with somewhere between Lucy or Kiwi. I'm leaning between Lucy and Kiwi. I really like Kiwi, but she did a thing I can't spoil. And Lucy is like peak, pretty damn peak, pretty much. So yeah, it's hard to pick between Kiwi and Lucy. Kiwi is a non-character though. That's the thing. Like, Lucy has so much more personality than Kiwi. Like, Kiwi was just kind of there to serve a purpose, it felt like. Kiwi was just a design. She was a cool design. I liked Kiwi a lot. But no, this is a very weird extrapolation. Notice how I didn't even say that I particularly like this character. I said, the only reason they do this is because this character is being sexualized massively online, and they want to normalize lolicon. What I said here is true. The only reason, like, this character is being sexualized massively online. Like, this character had, like, on Twitter for a while, it seemed like that same level of thirsting after as Lady D did, the big, tall vampire MILF from Resident Evil 8. It feels like a desperate attempt to say, "Ha! See? She's a child! You're all pedophiles! You can't criticize us!" Damn.
Make fun of on stream. Now, clearly,
anti-pedophiles destroyed.
this guy has no knowledge of the medium. Just listen to what he said on stream about his anime experience.
I don't really watch.
Yes, I don't watch a lot of anime. That is true. I am being called out right now for not having enough anime. Apparently, I have to watch a certain threshold of enough anime in order to recognize when a character is evidently being, like, drawn to resemble a child. And this is a very interesting one, how this guy likes to, how this guy went and censored this image. Ironically, in this clip, he is showing lewds of underage characters to his live viewers. I don't know who these characters are, but the art is literally, these heroes are so thick, and it's me calling out a account that has aged up the characters. I wasn't calling them out, I was pointing out they aged up the characters, if I remember correctly. This was from a while ago. This was back when I lived in the old apartment and had, like... That's back when my desk was against the other wall, too. Damn. Yeah, this is a non-argument.
Anime, I've seen Death Note and a little bit of One Punch Man. So that's my anime knowledge. But...
And since he's so comfortable calling people predators over a term, he has no...
Wait! Okay. There is a difference between calling someone a predator and calling someone a pedophile. You would think that these people would be very, very keen to want to, to want to be on top of that, right? You'd think they would want to be on top of that clarification, wouldn't they? There is a difference. Child predation is an act that you do, and pedophilia is a philia. It's not, like, pedophilia isn't a thing that is done, it's a thing that somebody is. Yeah. Didn't we just have, like, an entire, like, drama on LeftTube because there was, like, this dissonance where people couldn't recognize that saying not all pedophiles are predators isn't the same as saying pedophiles are okay or pedophiles aren't predators? That was a wild fucking go around.
Understanding of. I'm going to use this as a chance to educate Xander Hall on the definition of lol.
So I'm imagining this guy's probably going to bring up the point that I'm already very aware of, that in Japanese animation, lolly is sometimes referred to, like, used to refer to adult women who have, like, features typically associated with younger women, so being shorter or being skinnier. This is why, in Japan, there are people who have referred to Rebecca as a lolly, because in their language, in their culture, in that context, that's how they view it. I still disagree with that. I still think there needs to be a massive layer of separation between a character who is very evidently an adult by looking at her and, seeing how she behaves, talks, and what she does, and say, let's go back to the character that I used as my point of comparison in all of this, or I guess the tweet that I quote tweeted as my point of comparison in all of this. This person wants to conflate characters like this with characters like this. They want the defense of saying when they're attracted to these characters, what they mean is they're just attracted to these characters. And I guess what they're also trying to do is to catch me in some gotcha, like, well, you see, this is actually an anime community thing, and the only, there are actually very few, if any, pedophiles that call themselves lolicons. It's actually just a cultural, an anime thing. You don't understand because you just don't watch enough anime. You don't understand the culture. You just don't get it. Listen, these people have been getting called virgin losers on the internet for a very long time for very good reason, okay? The people who say, oh, she's a 3,000-year-old dragon, she's a 3,000-year-old dragon, have been getting dunked on online for decades for very good reason, okay? Pedophiles have been trying to use this excuse to defend their little child porn drawings for a very long time, okay? It is nothing new.
Lolly. Now, lolly is an aesthetic, and it is a body type, primarily defined by two characteristics.
So does that mean that child characters are not lollies? But she's a 3,000-year-old dragon. Yeah.
Short and or petite. It has absolutely nothing to do with age or sexualization.
Wow! Absolutely nothing. It is lolly only refers to petite, short girls. Nothing to do with underage characters or kids. You know what? Every single fact, everything we've ever known about pedophiles in the internet has been shattered today. One of my favorite things about this is this constant looming sort of implication that pedophiles have no reason to lie. They're like, now, why would we lie about being why would we lie and say we're not pedophiles if we were? Why on earth would we have any interest in lying about that? It's very similar to how Nazis and alt-righters will be like, oh, you're calling me a Nazi? Or why would I lie about that? Oh, how could you do this? They always like to ignore the term lolly literally fucking comes from the Nabokov book Lolita, which literally is about a child predator. I know that like how it's used commonly in like English, like lolly, like Lolita or whatever it is, but like what I'm not even talking about the etymology. The etymology does not matter here. I'm talking about the reality, okay? The porn that the vast majority of these Twitter users post and call lolly porn is not like Rebecca. If it was like Rebecca porn, I would be like, who cares? But it's more like porn of characters, like I said earlier, they like to look at, share, retweet, like, and even make their fucking profiles on Twitter characters like this and this in sexual and pornographic situations. So, let's assume, hypothetically, and I'm willing to be a little bit good faith here, even though this person came in right off the bat with ad homs. Let's say, hypothetically, this person is not a pedophile, and they are literally just like anime girls that are petite and short, and that is just, they're just attracted to short, petite anime girls, and that is it. If that was the case, why the fuck have you made your entire identity online, it appears, around defending your sexual attraction to it? Isn't it interesting how there is an entire community, an entire coalition that has had to be formed that name searches and actively attacks anybody who talks about their philia? Isn't it interesting how strongly they have to defend it? Isn't that strange? How much they have the need to defend it? It suggests to me that there's more to it than simply, they just think that short, petite anime girls are cute. If that was the case, they would not feel this strong social desire to defend their sexual attraction. They just say, I like petite anime girls. Isn't there already a term that isn't lolly for petite anime girls? I'm pretty sure there's another word for it I saw in my chat earlier, but maybe I'm wrong.
There is nothing inherently sexual about a character being a lolly. Like I said, it's just a body type. And
so that is true. There is nothing necessarily sexual in anime about a character being like a lolly. So for example, why do I keep closing it? I guess I need to keep the image open so I can keep referring back to it as like visual aid. But like this character particularly doesn't seem sexualized at all. This character, like, I haven't seen the show this comes from, I haven't seen the anime this character comes from, but just this design alone is actually, like, totally fine. Like, this just looks like a kid, Like, it's, like, there's no sexualization by the looks of it. It just seems to be a fucking kid being a kid. There's no... Maybe in the anime itself there is, but in this picture, I don't see any sexualization. So, obviously, that's not the issue. There's no problem with having a kid in anime. The problem is when there is a kid in anime and that kid is sexualized, or when people find themselves attracted to, anime children or characters that visually are evidently anime children, like this avatar here, and they try to defend it and normalize it because it seems like there's more to it than what it looks like on the surface. Their motives seem more sinister.
if you don't believe me, if you don't want to believe me and you don't want to believe the hundreds of anime fans clowning on you on Twitter right now, you can trust the people who made the anime itself, the two studios who directed it, both CD Projekt Red and the legendary studio Trigger, who claim that Rebecca is...
Yes, I do not agree with the fact that lolly is oftentimes used to refer to adult women that are short and petite and also children. Yes, that is the problem. I think that people continue, in the West particularly, who are trying to appropriate this specific nomenclature, are not doing it in a desire to adhere to the culture, adhere to the language and the desires of the... No, they're doing it to normalize the weird shit. CDPR also didn't want Rebecca in the show. That's not true. CDPR, if I recall correctly, at first there were people at CDPR and people at Trigger that didn't like Rebecca or her design, but upon working on the show, like actually getting to doing the show, they very quickly like found themselves liking her character and being like, oh, okay, she's not just some like sexualized like sex doll character. She's an actual character with personality and story arc and stuff. I liked her arc. It was actually pretty cool. It was sincere. It felt sincere. That's the word for it. So adult animation never feels sincere. And I feel like anime actually does that well. Anime actually does adult animation being sincere well, and Western adult animation is very bad at that. Very, very, very bad at that. Yeah.
Is a lolly.
Because what happened was I was one of the people on the creative team to actually vote Rebecca out of the original cast during pre-production. Because what happened was that CD Projekt Red first got the character design for Rebecca, and they were like, she's a loli. Lolis don't exist in Night City. It doesn't fit the Cyberpunk 2077 aesthetic. But Sugar was like, no, the loli must stay. And ultimately, she's the best girl. So it was the right choice.
So addressing his next point, the part where he's saying people...
Sure, I don't like when adult characters are referred to by the same label that child characters often sexualized are used for. That is my entire point, is that people are using this to normalize pedophilia.
People like me are trying to normalize lolicon.
Yes.
That couldn't be any further from the truth.
You named your video Unfathomably Based with the quote, "The lolly must stay," in your thumbnail. Okay. Also, I don't care about that femoids opinion, that 3D femoids opinion on what a lolly is. What? Oh, Rev Uwu taking the opinion of a 3D woman? Seriously? Oh. Now that is not what real anime fans do. You don't even engage with those 3D women. I'm sorry, but the 3D women are lame memes are really funny. I love when the fucking weebs go on about, like, I love when the weebs self-report. It's always very funny, okay? It always is.
I know this guy doesn't watch my content, he doesn't know anything about me, but anytime I discuss lolicon in any of my videos, I, ad nauseum, repeat the same sort of disclaimer that says it is perfectly understandable and valid to find the topic of lolicon, shotacon, anything like that. It is perfectly valid to find them weird, disgusting, gross. You can
So my opinion is, I do have the subjective opinion that's weird and gross and all of that. My main concern, I don't actually think that just watching lolicon makes someone a bad person. That on its own doesn't really seem to be a negative moral action. I don't think that you can really make a strong argument, factually speaking, that contributed harm to the world. My problem is that it feels like right now on the internet, there is an ever-growing community of people that are normalizing drawn child porn and trying to associate a character like Rebecca, who is not a child, and very broadly liked and has been sexualized broadly by people that are not pedophiles, trying to claim she is in fact part of that label so as to normalize the label further. Like, I don't feel... This isn't complicated. It is not complicated at all. It ain't that hard.
Find people that enjoy it to be degenerates. That's all fine. What I'm asking, and what a lot of people are asking is, don't call people pedophiles over their interest in fictional content.
So here's where we get to the weird shit. So now they're arguing that attraction to fictional content suddenly means the attraction doesn't matter, or the attraction isn't real. Just because the characters aren't real doesn't mean that isn't an indication you are attracted to childlike features or the features of children, or in the case of like the characters I've been showing as an example, literal fucking children. There's no denying that those are not artistic representations of children in anime art style. So yeah, that is where I draw the line. Okay, if you're out there saying, I think Rebecca is hot and that's what I'm into, you're fine. I don't think you're a bad person. You're not a pedophile. I don't even think that qualifies as what I call lolicon. This character as the VTuber avatar, which to be fair, isn't being sexualized necessarily. I mean, the choker's a little weird, but I mean, chokers aren't necessarily inherently sexual. But I'm going to say that to my audience, I'm going to guess this avatar is not helping Rev Uwu's case here.
Because doing that, I mean, there's no evidence to suggest that anyways. There's no connection. You can dig all you want. There's no study out there that's going to show a link between those two things.
I would be surprised if that was the case, and I would be willing to look into it and find if there are studies that correlate that. There probably are. However, I think that it does not require a study to say that if you want to fuck this fucking 4-year-old or 5-year-old or whatever the hell, I don't know, like this child, then yeah, you're pretty weird. Yeah, that's pedo shit. This is a child. Just because the child's not real doesn't mean you aren't sexually attracted to a child, which is what pedophilia is. Does she have arms? Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen the anime. I'm a degenerate non-anime watcher, don't you know?
And the problem is when you keep spouting these things off, you are watering down the term pedophilia and
I love this argument. So, who remembers back when the skeptic community, during the Gamergate days, would incessantly, anytime they platformed a white nationalist or a neo-Nazi like Milo Yiannopoulos or Alex Jones or whatever, and they'd be like, hey, lefties would be like, hey, you shouldn't platform that person. And they'd respond with like, oh, you're so fucking triggered. Oh my God. You're so offended. Oh, you're so, oh my God. Like you can't handle people that, like you're watering down the term racist because you're so offended. Anyone who disagrees with you is all of a sudden a fucking racist. Oh, now you're what's the term? What's the phrase that they would always use? You're taking the weight away from the word Nazi and stuff like that. Like people would unironically say, "Don't call Richard Spencer a Nazi. He's clearly not one. You can't call people that just off the top, like off the limb. You're taking the weight away from the word." It really does feel like the exact same thing, right? Like, oh no, I'm not a pedo or defending weird pedo shit. Like, why would I do that? That's, you're watering down the term. You're actually trivializing the real thing. Now, to be clear, there obviously is a very big difference between a pedophile jacking off to... I'm going to outright say it. There is a big difference between a pedophile jacking off to this and jacking off to, like, actual CSAM of a real child. The difference is that in the case of jacking off to CSAM of a real child, you're profiting and gaining pleasure from the sexual abuse of a real child. That is not the case here when it comes to, like, the fucking lolly porn. I'm not making a strong moral judgment. I'm not, like, claiming that every single person who watches that is, like, going out there to diddle kids, but I think it's probably something that you need to consider. I think it's something that you should really maybe just think about a little bit. And, maybe some introspection might be best. Just a little bit of introspection, potentially. That's what I'd like. Just some introspection for these people. I'm not saying you're a bad person. But if you're out there defending the little 3-foot-tall girl, then you are probably a pedo. And that is why I've called the people attacking me during this drama pedos. And as far as I could tell from this person's channel, yeah, the evidence kind of leans on them being a pedo. I've called this person a pedo as readily as I would call someone making equivalent conservative content about race or whatever a Nazi or a racist or whatever. Like, the evidence is there. I didn't just make this up. You know, I feel like most people here can see where I might be given that impression.
Those two things. And the problem is when you keep spouting these things off, you are watering down the term pedophilia and predator and pedophile and all these terms to the point where they mean absolutely nothing.
So this actually makes no sense. Nothing about me making fun of weirdos that defend their drawn child porn actually makes it so that like real victims end up like having it be harder for them to seek justice. It doesn't, like, that's not how that works. The one example these people have been trying to bring up over and over and over again is the last time I got into a big Twitter war with these like lolicon people. One of them decided to like respond to me saying, I was sexually assaulted as a child, and you saying that lolicon is child porn really trivializes what I went through and makes me feel like a piece of shit. And I quote tweeted them and said, like in quotes, I said, because I was a victim of sexual assault, that means the child porn that people are looking at is somehow not child porn now because I said so, and that makes me the arbiter. Something along those lines, and now they've tried to accuse me of harassing a child sexual assault victim. So when you see these people resorting to the exact same tactics as the far right, like where I'll criticize like a black right-wing figure, and then all their fans call me racist for criticizing a black person, and it's like, I thought you guys were the ones that are rallying against idpol and canceling everybody for disagreeing with somebody because they're a minority, you know? It's Rich Rev said that, considering that his fans had no issue with using the word groomer on Zan's trans fans. Oh yeah, my trans fans have been getting called groomers and pedophiles in the replies of, like, in the comments of my tweets, like, for the last 24 hours. Their, like, go-to argument is, you probably shouldn't throw stones from glass houses at us lolicons as trans people right now. And it's like, what? Wait, okay, oh, you know, that's no coincidence that the people who are out here defending drawn child porn are also transphobic and seem to be on the right politically. I'm not saying all of my haters are pedophiles, but it sure does seem weird how many of my haters have ended up being pedophiles, huh?
They're becoming meaningless insults to throw at people you think are weird or you disagree with. I mean, we're at a point where someone can be outed on Twitter for being an actual pedophile, hurting real-life children, and many of the replies will be something like, well, wait a second, was he an actual pedophile? Did he hurt real kids?
I was really hoping that we'd be able to find some middle ground here, and they'd bring up, I don't know what they're referring to, maybe that's a real thing, but like, the example that I see on Twitter is, you see like New York Post, that shit fucking tabloid site, will post like an article that'll be like, 26-year-old teacher has sex with 13-year-old student, male student, and it's like, why is the headline not raped instead of had sex, and why are all of the replies, wish that was me, where were these teachers when I was a kid, lucky kid, give that teacher a medal, yeah, give that teacher a medal, you guys have seen that shit, right? It's fucking sickening. That's what I was hoping that they were going to bring up, because I have seen that stuff on Twitter, and I was hoping we could find some middle ground, but evidently not.
Or is it just lolly stuff? Like, I'm sorry, that makes my blood boil. That is a very bleak existence we're in, and it's because of people like this throwing the term around like it's just a generic insult to label people you don't like or you find are weird. And speaking of normalizing, let's not normalize watering down the term pedophile by using it in inappropriate context.
So this is literally no different than back in Gamergate when the skeptic community would get mad about calling Milo Yiannopoulos or Richard Spencer a Nazi. You're watering down the term Nazi. You're gonna make it mean nothing. This is the same amount of merit is held in these arguments. When you call someone something, you are taking the value away from it argument rarely applies in a broader social space. They tried this with the word Nazi. They tried it with racist. They tried it with homophobe and transphobe. They are constantly trying to defend themselves against they're constantly trying not defend themselves. Defending themselves is the wrong terminology because that implies they're being attacked unjustly. They're trying to normalize their philia broadly to the internet. That's like a lot of them. And the rest of them are people that very desperately need to find another word to refer to short or petite adult anime girls by that doesn't also include literal fucking children, okay? Like can we at least agree on that?
Text like this. Okay, this is something that actual predators will thank you for because you're watering down the term so much that nobody takes it seriously. And
This is literally just like back in game. Dude, bro, the same level of argumentation from these people. It's actually crazy. I bet pet predators would actually appreciate you calling lolicons pedophiles. They would appreciate it. One of my favorite things that I had happen during the 24 hours of like weird Twitter drama that's been happening is that I kept on getting these replies from these lolicons where it would be like a collage of people I've never seen or heard of before in my life, and the collage would be labeled list of antis, ANTIS, so like anti-lolicon is what that's short for, I guess. List of antis exposed for having real child porn. And they kept on replying to my posts with that. Anti-map, that maybe that's what they're referring to. I don't know what they just say anti. I don't know what the anti, yeah. Anyway, and it's like I'm supposed to know who these people are, I guess, that have been caught with child porn who apparently were anti-lolicon. I won't say that it's impossible for people who are just trying to build a layer of defensibility between themselves and suspicion wouldn't be like constantly shitting on lolicon. That's probably a thing that would happen, but I don't know any of those people. I'm not part of some fucking community that spends all its time dunking on lolicons. This is like an arc that comes around every time I see some shit on Twitter that triggers me. Like, this is not... You guys who've watched my channel for any amount of time should be able to tell it's not exactly like a staple of my content for me to be dunking on lolicons. It happens every once in a while, but I'm more of a hardcore political, like, LGBT race and socio-political issue streamer, not like a... This just isn't usually in my ballpark. TBH Zan, your take is the most normie stance ever, and in this case is a fairly base normie stance, in my opinion. Well, that's the thing, though. These channels have built themselves up as sort of vanguards to protect themselves from the social stigma around pedophiles. It's the same reason why pedophiles like that don't, like, I guess, watch anime or whatever on Twitter call themselves maps or no maps, no contact maps or whatever it's called. Like, it's literally all an attempt to form a vanguard, a community to defend each other from social stigma for being pedophiles and for, in some cases, outright being sexual predators. Some of them are child sexual predators and are open about it. That has happened. Ban Not Cassandra, we got another pedo in the chat. Yeah, like, I don't know. It just seems strange to me that this person's making this video, and meanwhile, like, half the replies to my tweets have been literally defending objectively drawn child porn. Like, and the profile pictures, too, really just tell you all you need to know. Like, you'll see someone with a profile picture of what looks like a fucking anime toddler replying that, actually, you're the real pedophile for saying that me jacking off to drawn children is weird. God, I love the internet. The projection is wild.
It's something that hurts real-life victims, which you clearly don't care about. Because look at this tweet. Xander Hall tweeted this 2 weeks ago.
Based. Wait, 2 weeks ago? This tweet was actually from 2020 and was deleted after he got dragged for mocking a person who... This tweet isn't deleted, is it? I would never delete this tweet. This tweet is based as fuck. I literally quote tweeted someone who said this you and said yes with the Chadwo Jack. I'm pretty sure the tweet got, like, mass flagged if it's down. But okay. This person says, this is honestly what infuriates me about this whole lolicon is CP shit. Hey, isn't it interesting how this person has to censor the word lolicon on their screen? I wonder why they have to do that. They did say it's nothing sexual, nothing inherently sexual or inappropriate. It's just a body type. Why is it being censored on screen here? Money? Yeah, but why would YouTube be, like, demonetizing or against the concept of lolicon if it wasn't sexual or, like, inappropriate? Yeah, total mystery. This is honestly what infuriates me about this whole lolicon is CP shit that these people do. I'm an actual victim of CSA and CSEM, conflating the horrific abuse I endured as a child. The fucking anime makes my blood boil. This is literally just a straw man of my argument. The reason why I quote tweeted it with the tweet quote tweets, like when I quote somebody, when I put somebody's like opinion in quotes like this, when I quote tweet them, I'm cutting through their straw man and exposing what they actually believe. What this person actually just said is, I was sexually abused as a child, and I don't think lolly porn is child porn, so it can't be. If you think it is, then you are the real ones hurting kids who are sexually abused by adults. It's literally just deflection. It's the same thing that black conservatives do when they say you're racist if you criticize them for their political beliefs, because that is common. And that like people like Blair White, like trans conservatives will use that too. Everybody on the right, anybody who has like shitty ideas online that can use their identity or can use some kind of id poll or something along those lines to defend themselves or something that would lend them general social sympathy, they will use it in an online argument. Don't pretend like that's something people don't do. Do you really think people on Twitter are above weaponizing, even lying about being, I'm not saying this person is, but do you think people on Twitter are even above lying about that or weaponizing that happening to them to defend shitty stuff? Of course not. It happens on Twitter every single day. The go-to way to defend bad shit on Twitter is to say I'm a victim of something bad, and thus it's okay for me to do bad things. You see that shit on Twitter all the time.
Like, I've come across plenty of people who I think are weird or degenerates or even just not very good people, but I would never, in a million years, try to invalidate their history of being sexually abused because I think they're strange or I don't like them. This person literally just claimed, my opinion is correct because I was a victim of CSA, and I replied, you being a victim of CSA doesn't make your opinion right. I'm sorry, but that's true. This is no different. This is literally like when Vosh got called racist for criticizing, what's her name? That one lady? And it's like, see, the left are the real racists. They will, yeah, like, it's obviously disingenuous. No, not Professor Flowers. No. The conservative lady. What was her name? I swear it started with an A. No, not Candace Owens. No. What was her name? Fuck. The lady he got in trouble for, like, talking about her hair. And it was just such a nothing drama that came from nothing but people trying to uncharitably misinterpret what he was saying. I forget what her name is, though. Gothics? No. Well, my chat's too racist to figure it out, so we're just gonna have to continue. I don't know, it just reminds me a lot of that. It's always disingenuous, okay? People who literally dedicate themselves to I dedicate myself. My job is literally dedicated to dunking on the right, to dunking on like racists, to dunking on, or not on the right necessarily, on racism, homophobia, transphobia, like classism, like all these isms and ists and so on, right? That is my job, is to talk about these things, to educate people on them, whether it be like saying, hey, maybe you didn't know this happened historically, such as last night, last night, I watched the first episode of this like remake they did of Interview with a Vampire. I watched a bit of the first episode, like the very beginning of the first episode of this remake they made last night with my friends. And in the first like 10 minutes, they name drop Jim Crow, which I don't know why, but it was just I was kind of happy about that because like I didn't learn about Jim Crow in school. A lot of Americans don't learn about Jim Crow in school. Or if they do, they learn a very, like, watered down, basic, like, understanding of it. But, yeah. But it's the same shit. This right here is absolutely disgusting. Like, if you say things like this, you are a genuinely bad person. That's all there
I'm a bad person, guys. There we go.
is to it. You are a bad person. This is sociopathic behavior.
I'm a sociopathic behavior. I'm a bad person and a sociopath. Okay.
I think someone's abuse is invalid because basically you
I didn't say their abuse was invalid. I said their opinion is invalid and that their abuse doesn't validate it.
Think they're weird? That's insane. And to address one comment I've seen...
Yes, let's do it. Come on my stream. Let's do it. Yeah. When do you want to do it? I can't do it tonight because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 8. No, 8. I got 8 more topics left to cover today. Yeah, do you want to come on? We can do it. I got World of Warcraft leveling to do. WoW is like a fantastic, fantastic game to grind while debating. Absolutely. I got some levels I need to get.
In my tweet about the subject and in his replies, the whole, go debate him. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not a debate bro, grifter, bread tuber.
Vindication is a nice feeling, you know? Sometimes you just get proven right, and it just feels nice. Not that this person's a coward or anything because they don't want to debate. To be completely fair, like, debate is unironically a skill that needs to be honed and practiced to be anywhere near good enough at it. To, like, it doesn't matter how correct you are. Like, you have to have skill and practice in debate to be competent at it. So I don't necessarily blame them for not wanting to debate. But the whole, like, grifter bread tuber thing is funny because it kind of indicates where this person's politics are, which is in line with what I've been saying about the right for a while. And not only that, but, like, my debates are usually pretty damn chill. Like, even with lolicons, every lolicon debate I've had started out, like, trying to come to, like, some mutual agreement. And I don't think I've only ever had one devolve into, like, meminess and insults and screaming and yelling. And that was somebody who was, like, actively defending, like, having sex with the boss baby, you know? Like, that being sexually attracted to the boss baby wouldn't be pedophilia. So I don't I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this vindication.
Okay? I don't do those things. And why would I validate someone by going on stream to debate them? Let me give you a metaphor for this situation. It was like me walking down...
Do you guys remember when Sargon made that video along with Styx Hexenhammer 666 about how you shouldn't debate the, like, don't debate breadtube, don't debate grifttube and everything? I think this person's a Sargon fan because I'm pretty sure Sargon was the origin of the don't debate grifttube thing. That's nice to know.
On the street this morning, and then some random crackhead running up to me and screaming in my face, "You're a pedophile, you're a pedophile." Why would I then sit down?
If you were walking down the street, just minding your business and doing nothing weird, and you had a random person come up to you and call you a pedophile, yeah, that'd be pretty weird. But what you made were multiple videos where you talk about lollies being based and how much you love lollies. So, and lollies are awesome and stuff. So yeah, I guess that isn't just walking down the street, you know? That's a little more than just walking down the street minding your own business and being called a pedophile for no reason by a crackhead.
And schedule a formal debate with them. I'm not going to validate someone like that. You laugh at them, you move on, and then you tell your friends about the...
Also, the amount of these people that have been raiding the chat and getting banned consistently should be a pretty good piece of evidence as to the character of this person and their community, by the fact they literally raid and brigade like any Nazi channel does.
Crazy story you just had, which is what I'm doing with this video, okay? And also, I've been around the block. I'm not new at this. I've had commentary debate bros try to get me on their stream to debate them about this topic before. It's a trap.
I know that Boblax and Nick Diorio and stuff, they were actually going to cover this guy originally, and now that I'm covering him, they actually might be doing it as well. And following that, I think I've talked to, I don't know, I've talked to a few large YouTubers in the space that will probably end up jumping on the wagon of dunking on this shit, and this particular YouTuber, no doubt. 'Cause, like, I don't know if they're going to get involved, so I won't name the YouTubers I've spoken to, but there's a few that might end up getting involved in all of this that are actually kind of big, you know, might be might be a little rough getting called out by the YouTubers that are gonna come along. Because what's wild to me is that this channel is like openly defending this stuff and has 600,000 subscribers, and YouTube's not done anything about it. Now, obviously, YouTube is not very concerned about their TOS. They only enforce it insofar as they need to uphold their bottom line. They did the same. It's kind of like I think Stefan Molyneux is the perfect example to draw to, right? Stefan Molyneux, for years and years and years, was probably the most well-known white supremacist, white nationalist, avowed one. Like, he called himself that on YouTube. He was actively spreading misinformation, hate, racism, etc. for a very long time, blatantly against YouTube's TOS, and yet YouTube did nothing about it because he was pulling millions of views and making a lot of money. And the media wasn't really paying attention enough to get enough of an outrage to threaten YouTube's reputation and bottom line. But then, out of nowhere one day, Stefan Molyneux got banned off of everything all at once. It was really bizarre. And it seemed like it was out of nowhere. So when I did coverage of his ban, we looked at his Social Blade archive and saw his channel had literally flatlined. His channel was no longer making any money, gaining any new subs, and was like wavering at a view count that would have been worrying for me to have at like 73,000 subs. So it became evident that YouTube only banned the guy because he had just become such a liability, but wasn't worth the money and the amount of, ad revenue, ad time, views, everything, traffic, and so on that he was bringing to the site originally. It just wasn't worth it anymore. And that's basically what's happening here, I'd imagine. YouTube probably gains from this person being able to upload their content. I don't even know if this person's a pedo, honestly. I would like to talk to them and see if they're just like into petite, short anime girls like Rebecca, and that's it. And if they're literally not into, and like there's no evidence whatsoever that they are, like there's no retweets of like that one character, the Kana character, with the no arms, the one that's like clearly a 5-year-old. Like, if there's no shit that's like that being retweeted of like porn of that, like if this person genuinely is just into girls that look like Rebecca from Cyberpunk, then we could have an actual productive conversation that would not be a debate, possibly even one where we come to a decent middle ground. But sadly, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Oh well. With that said, if you enjoyed this segment, please consider leaving a like. It helps the channel, my videos, whether you're watching them live, after the fact, or when they go up as segments, more than you even realize. Hell, this video is going to get massively, massively ratioed by pedophiles, so be sure to drop those likes intensely, more so than ever. And you know what? If you watched all the way to the end, I want you to comment down below, the lolly is gone. Comment down below, the lolly is gone, if you watched all the way to the end. Yeah, with all that said, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, donate, gift subs if you would like to. And of course, if you guys want to follow me on my other social media, you can do so. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Fan Discord, all that linked down below. And you can also support me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, and Patreon. With all that said, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And have a good one.